Alrighty. We are coming to you live on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter X, as I no longer stream to Kick, because it's a bit of a kick in the nuts when you get like a spam and, you know, people trying to spam you. But anyway, we're going to start by, let's see, do we want to do astronomy or want to look at a Pocket PC? Because to do the Pocket PC demonstration, I'm going to have to lower my lights by a significant margin. Hey Google, turn off the light. All right, let's see here. Can anybody see me? Can anybody hear me? Am I streaming? I should check that myself. Oh, okay, I see the word yay. Thank you, David. That is David Xavier Glenn. I made up a new middle name. His name is actually just David Glenn. My middle name is Danger. Alrighty, so before we do the telescoping, let's take a look at the Pocket PC just for kicks, because I did some stuff on here. Alright, how's the picture? Can you guys see the picture? I mean, I can barely see it, so I'm sure you can't see it. But let's see, we're going to take these little isolation things. These are for the Noctua fans I bought recently. I put a pair of Noctua fans in my case. I put them right behind the vent. They're like actually small fans. They're like 40 millimeter or something like that. And that should be about good enough. Let me just make it. Let me make this into fuller screen so I can actually see it. And we're gonna move the where did I put the focusing? So okay, there we go. I got the auto exposure on one screen. We're gonna go and we're gonna broadcast. Not broadcast. We're gonna put this in full screen preview mode. I'm gonna do it too. We're gonna make a window. There we go. You can't see the window, but I can. And I'm gonna now make this into full screen on my upper right screen so that I can see this. Because we want to make sure that we get this in focus. There's something about the way this LCD works where it's like perpetually out of focus. Or at least it feels that way sometimes. Hello, California Ford 44. It's lovely seeing you. I'm happy to hear that you're safe at the moment. Yeah, someone expressed concern earlier. I believe that was James. And I was like, Cali runs California. Actually, it's funny. I did see a picture in that music video that I upscaled the other day. Oh, and it took me 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But the one I uploaded the other day, and there's actually a Japanese girl wearing a t-shirt that says, I run LA. And it's funny because it says I with a picture of a guy running and then LA. And I was like, I thought it was kind of cool. It's like, oh, look at that. They're using pictograms. But this time they're English pictograms instead of Japanese pictograms. All right. Getting this straight can sometimes be a bit of a, you know, exercise. Doesn't have to be straight, right? But, you know, I mean, I think you guys know what I'm trying to go for here. You know, we want it to not be crooked. Like the government. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so we can do that. You know, like maybe if I had like a piece of cardboard, I could like just place it above. Or we could turn off the light. It just keeps getting worse when you turn off. Okay, let's turn off the other light. The camera's blocking me. Alrighty. See, now the chroma key looks like heck, but that's alright. Huh. We can turn on the green. Oh, that's not bad. That is not bad, is it? I hope the audio is not too loud, guys. I think it's fine, but I lowered the audio a little bit because I was doing some, I was trying to actually get AI software to replicate my voice. And we can do a little demonstration of that in a bit if you guys want to see that. I suspect some people might. So anyway, let's do a test right now because I've made great progress in getting this device to play movies correctly. And I do want to say hello. In addition to California Ford 44, I want to say hello to James, David Glenn, Slim Nim. I see you, Slim Nim. Slim Nim was right. He goes, when I said I'll be ready very soon, he's like, oh, yeah, that'll be like tomorrow. There we see. You ain't kidding. You can ask Snacks and Comics and Punk Waddle to confirm that fact. And I do want to say hello to Pacific414. Thanks for dropping in, bud. It's good to see you. And Blightwave Gamer, good man. Hey, man. See, some people can't have these emojis on screen, but I can because I use the cool plugin that lets me show the emojis. The backlighting helped. Oh, yeah, right? And there is a backlight setting on the, you know, like on my left side of this screen over here. So I can control this as well. But for now, we're going to leave that alone because I think we're doing pretty good here. So here's my Windows CE device. And we're going to open up a file. We're going to verify we're opening up the right file. Wow, that's completely and utterly difficult to read. I think there's like, I think it's the angle. I think if we match the angle of the screen, which is a very subtle angle, we should be good. Like, see, that's clearly pretty readable. Yeah, it's about as good as it gets. So maybe it's the bottom of the start menu is out of focus. Maybe it's the way the lens works on this webcam. The angles. Wow, look at that. I think I know why that's happening. We could fix that, but I think I know why that's happening. There could be two reasons why that's happening, but that's interesting how much the quality of the image changes when I turn on that lamp, huh? I think it's I think I know why. It's sort of like the way LCDs work and the way the backlighting works. I think there's actually like some effect where it appears to be further or closer than it really is, and so I don't know. We'll play with it, and then we'll just roll with it, you know. So we can do something like this maybe, or we can increase the shutter speed or reduce the shutter speed. We can tweak the gamma. We can maybe reset the gamma and crank up the gain. Maybe we should just turn off every light and see what we can do with the settings like this. So we're going to do white balance, gamma, gain. All right. I apologize for the inconvenience, guys. I just want to try to make this look as good as possible, you know? So I think what happens is when you don't have any extra light, or it could be the way that, maybe it could be something to do with the refresh rate on the screen. Same reason we're getting those like bars on the screen. We're just gonna put it back the way it was. I think that worked out pretty good, pretty well. I think just having an abundance of light is the way to go for something like this. So we're gonna go ahead and turn back on the light because it worked better when we did. Despite that, maybe I could take these printouts here and kind of just dangle them over my desk. I'll try this. Let's try a different way. Ready? Is that better? It looks awful, doesn't it? Well, the glare, yeah, I mean, the glare is a whole other thing. I mean, well, let's see here. I'm going to reset. I'm going to start with a baseline here. I'm going to turn the light back on because I think that worked better. You know what I mean? It did work better. You know, it's just, we just have to position this in such a way. All right, you know what? That'll have to do. We're going to stick with that. I don't really see any other practical way to do this. Okay, that'll have to do for now. So let's roll. Maybe I can lower the brightness a little bit. That might actually serve us better. Yeah, that's not terrible. It's pretty good. I'm going to stick with that. Hey, am I dead? What do you mean? Am I on mute? Am I on mute? Am I on mute? Am I on mute? No, I'm not on mute. I can see I'm not on mute. Therefore, we have disinformation. No, I'm kidding. How you doing, Salty? Good to see you, buddy. You guys can't hear me, right? All right, so now I'm just gonna. You want me on camera? Is that what you mean by is he dead? Here you go. Here you go. You got me on camera now. Now, am I turning you on? All right. So let's. Oh man, I got a smudge on the screen. All right, whatever. So I can't read it. Okay, good. So let's do a science experiment. You guys ready to rock and roll? I need that full screen camera back, and I need to put the windowed camera back up too, so I can see this better. Okay, good. I'm resizing some things on my screen. Okay, good. I can see the Pocket PC better on my screen now. I could probably tweak the angle, but we're not going to go that far. We're going to keep it real simple here. All right, so anyway, this is what I did. So this device here, back in its heyday, and back in its heyday when the more advanced color display devices came out, such as the one in this hand, which is a bit thicker. It has a battery pack. This uses AAA batteries or a battery pack. I'm using rechargeable AAAs, so, you know, I effectively have unlimited battery. Obviously, this has a faster CPU. It's like 100 megahertz. This is like, well, even faster, and this one's like 69 megahertz. This is a NEC V4111 CPU. It's a low power, you know, embedded type of deal, you know. Now, the thing is that in the heyday of this device, they had an app called, like something like Pocket TV MPEG player, it was called. It was like, it had a name like Pocket TV, had nothing to do with TV. It was just an MPEG player, meaning, you know, MPEG 1, and I believe MPEG 2. And on a more, you know, robust device, maybe that would do the trick. And on this device, I thought that was all I would be able to utilize because, you know, it's like an old enough video encoding where, you know, it's designed to run on ancient hardware, yada, 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 right? And the reason you would use MPEG is because back in the day, when you had an AVI file, you typically had like little or no compression, or what was available in terms of compression, you know, I'd imagine was just it was a different landscape. But MPEG encoding was a popular way to go, especially if you're capturing your own video, you're recording the video from like a VCR into your computer. People would own a MPEG card that would have like, you know, like almost like its own sub-processing on it, and it would basically be a hardware-based MPEG encoder so that you're not utilizing a great deal of overhead from your CPU to, you know, compress the video, and so you can fit more stuff on a single disc or whatever the case may be. The other thing was that if you wanted to play video CDs or you wanted to author video CDs, that's essentially the encoding you would use. And even DVD, like the software that Pop Culture Mechanic gave me, I finally got it to work. Because for a while, I couldn't get it to work. Pop Culture Mechanic gave me this very old application called TMPEG MPEG encoder. I have it up here. And it's interesting because when you run it, oh crap. It runs extremely fast. Like it'll read the file and see like how quickly it's going? Like that's how quickly it encodes the file. But the input has to be some kind of very basic AVI or within, you know, a certain set of encodings, you know, limited set of encodings. So you can't just take your modern MPEG-4 file and just put it in here and expect it to spit out an MP4. It'll, you know, give you an error. Okay, cool. So we got this. So I thought, hey, now that I got this to work, this would be the progress I'm finally looking for. But this application here, I think it kept my encoding. So you see the audio is 48 kilohertz f 32 kilobits per second. I believe using a lower kilohertz might help with performance. But using an MP3 might not be helpful either. Like, sure, we'll get like much better compression if we're trying to get a good quality file. An MP3 will give you, you know, a smaller file while maintaining quality, depending on the settings you use. But, you know, there's a lot of mixing and matching. So basic workflow is I start out using Handbrake, this application here. I do an MP4 X264 file encoding. I pick my frame rate, and look, you could do like 5, 10, you know, whatever frame rate you want. And so originally when I realized, like, I had videos that were like at either 24 or 30 FPS, but they would barely play at 5, maybe 8 frames a second, depending on, you know, the resolution and stuff. So my idea was like, okay, I'll encode some MPEGs at maybe 10 frames a second. Maybe by giving it less than 30 frames a second, it'll have less data to deal with. So even if there's a bottleneck, maybe picking 10, it'll be able to actually do 10 frames or 9 frames a second. And the problem was that depending on what app I use, like there's an app called AVS Video Converter. And this is an old one, but it comes in handy sometimes. It does, or at least it's not that old, but it kind of like, it's been around for a while. This is a newer version of a pretty old app that I used to use back when I had a Pentium 4. But it has some cool things that it does, or at least it's like, it has functionality that I can't get out of the more modern apps sometimes. So it's like, I could do this for other apps, but it's nice that it has a DVD authoring feature. Or if you know you got an iPod Classic, this is like a very straightforward way to get things encoded to the iPod Classic, although Handbrake does that just fine. But what interested me was getting a straight MPEG out of this. So, cool. You know, we got some options here, but the problem was it would never let me lower the frame rate beyond this. So it's not very helpful. You know, I want to do better than 24 frames a second. So that's on the downside. Also, I noticed when I pick MPEG-2, it doesn't really give me an MPEG-2. It still uses MP3, so that's weird. Now, one thing it does right is it does give you control over the kilohertz and the bits. That can be very helpful. 8-bit would be almost like tape quality. Obviously, it doesn't have any of the hallmarks of a quality analog tape. But in terms of like the, I guess, responsiveness, the spectral response, you know, what it can record and what it can replicate, that part is equivalent to like a tape, basically, a cassette tape, audio cassette. But we can control the resolution here. That being said, I suspect that the scaling in this application isn't as good as what's in Handbrake. So, you know, I generally start here and then send it to AVS Video Converter. You know, there's a lot of combinations. Now I was able to save some steps. So what's the new workflow? Well, we still use this, right? We give it a resolution. So, oh, in that case, that's a higher resolution. So, let's see here. The device's resolution is 240 by 180. And if I want to lower it, how do I do that? Well, I'll show you in a minute. I'm not going to another stroboscopic stream. Can't do it by. I'm sorry, James. It's not even that bad, bro, man. Just don't look at the screen, but it's okay. I respect your, you know, really, is it that bad? Is it that bad? I mean, honestly, is it that big of a deal, guys? Honestly, I don't mean to sound antsy, but, tell me, I'll fucking fix it. I just need to know, like, how bad is it? Like, I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, I guess it's a little annoying, I guess. But, you know, if anyone of you two guys are still here, chime in. Tell me what's good. I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm not saying that just because I can see it, but I mean, I'm not strobing. I'm just repeating. And it's kind of cool. But that's just my opinion, I guess. I mean, I can minimize the app. It's just that switching between screens, it's convenient to have the ability to monitor what I'm doing. That's why I keep these windows open. I did minimize the windows just now. That's got to count for something. And beyond that, yeah, so I mean, look, I'll take the video window out of this screen, but I'm not minimizing the OBS up here because I have nowhere else to put it right now, and I do need to see it. So, you know. So, in terms of killing us, is it in terms of the stroboscopicness or some other aspect? Because that's the only thing I can control is the stroboscopicness. You weren't even in there. Be that as it may, Only about 3 hours and 34 minutes. Okay, let's get back on topic here. But, yeah, I'm sorry if the stroboscopicness is unsightly. Nah, we didn't have audio problems really. I might have muted for like 5 seconds. It's more video related. Because, hey, tell me, some person, is this distracting? Oh, it's cool. I can make a windmill. I'm sorry. But jokes aside, yeah, I had like a big video window on both my upper right and left screens, so that made it apparently really hard to watch. Is it so bad that director Carl Rayner could not say cut at the proper time? I don't know. Okay, so let's get back on topic. Now I can't even see what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah, I'm gonna bring that window up. I need to see what I'm doing. Yeah, that guy's a little annoying. I'll admit it is, but like, I don't think I'm that egregious about it. But David, you said you agree, so I'm just curious. Like I need your input, man. Were you agreeing about the stroboscopicness? And just to confirm it, is the stroboscopic referring to this or to the flicker on the phone? The device. That is what I would like to know. So anyway, bottom line is that, okay, so where was I? Got to find that video encoder again. All right, I got to minimize the window again. All right. See, that's why I don't minimize the window. It just kind of takes extra steps. All right, so I needed to go and open up a calculator. That's what I needed to do when I got sidetracked. So, okay, here's the screen resolution calculator. So our source resolution is 640 by 480. The Pocket PC has a resolution of 320 by 240. So that means that in portrait mode, we should be able to get up to 240 wide by 180 tall. Now, when the device has trouble playing at a given frame rate, it tends to be because the resolution is kind of high or the data stream is too much. So we can compensate for that by lowering the resolution accordingly, as you can see here. So now we go back to my left screen, and we're gonna match that resolution. We're gonna do 231 approximately, right, by 173. And as you can see, it kind of rounds it up or down by a pixel, and that's totally fine in this case. Okay, we also converted to grayscale since we don't need the color data, right? And we were successful, I think. I don't remember if I was successful here, but we're going to try it out anyway. So we're going to do a 256K per second frame bit rate. And normally for like modern video, you do this completely differently. And that can be, if anyone wants to learn how to do that, that's cool too. Oh wait, that's an old message. But yeah, I'm sorry, James. I wish I could have accommodated you sooner, man. I mean, you know. Sometimes it's kind of fun. I think it's fun. I think it's like a neat little novelty. It's sort of like when I first got green screen working and I could do anything all of a sudden. It's sort of like that, you know? I agree that this is a perfect stream to be watching. Is not, or it is. It might be the worst stream to watch on psychedelics, but I get it. I get the logic. If you want to simulate being on psychedelics, it's a good stream. It's less looking into infinity, but more looking at multiple microseconds into the past at once. That's fucking cool. I mean, I think it's cool, but to each their own. I get it. I understand. There are always two of you. Wait, are there two of you for real? See, now I'm not monitoring the window. Huh, how did I do that? Oh, I see. That doesn't count as stroboscopicness. That just counts as laziness on my part. Like, everything that, yes, and I got to move that to my right monitor, which is fine. It's sort of like par for the course, I guess, right? Okay, so that's good to know. Thank you, Dave, for the feedback on that. All right, let's get back onto this. All right, so we're going to do a test. Actually, we're going to do two things. We're going to encode a video at 10 frames a second. And I almost forgot. This is not a PCM audio track. This is going to be using some kind of MP3. And in fact, should I encode it to MP3 now, or should I wait till later? Well, we're going to encode it to MP3 now because this particular animated series did have some interesting issues with the way the audio encoding was handled. So we're going to do MP3 mono. That's important. That's going to cut the data streams in half too for a device that, if I'm not wearing headphones, In fact, that device, even with headphones, doesn't do stereo. Okay, so anyway, let's really quickly here. Okay, so we got audio, video, we got everything else in place. Our dimensions, maybe we should put the dimensions in there. 232 by 174. And we'll maintain 10 frames per second. MP4, because it's still an MP4. It's a long-ass file name. And we're going to just let it run. And now it's going to happen pretty quickly. It's doing it at like 1,000 frames a second. It's not even giving you a count. Yeah, there it is. So it's going to do 2-pass encoding because I told it to. Now let's see what the device has on it. Hey, what's up, Amber? Good to see you. Now I got to put the video window back. Oh. Okay, so let's see here. These are sorted by date, I think. And basically they're all AVI or MP4. Maybe we turn on the green light. Oh, the green light was on. Okay. Well, in that case, we'll leave the green light off for now. So this one here, I believe, was done in PCM audio, meaning essentially it's a WAV file for the audio track. And the music is glitchy right now because that time I didn't really do anything with the audio encoding. Turning the light on again. Oh, it's playing the music correctly. And look at that, the frame rate is pretty good. I'm sorry it's hard to see. This one is going to be actually like pretty difficult to show, but that's playing back very smoothly. Like better than ever before. So on a whim, I tested out an AVI and it actually worked. And I didn't actually cover the workflow, so I got to still show you guys the workflow, but first we'll just play it back real quick. Now, I'm playing it back for about 10 seconds, then I got to pause it so we can see the frame rate. What's up, the Peter Venkman fan site? So, video encoded at 10 frames a second, played 120 frames, 0 dropped. That is good news. It means that it didn't have trouble playing this back at 10 frames a second. It played exactly as many frames. It's using a MPEG-4 DivX XVID encoding, so it's not a modern X264 encoding by any means. That one is a bit more CPU intensive. So this is progress. The problem is I don't remember which command I used, so most likely I won't be able to demonstrate a fresh file right now. But we're going to try one out anyway at some point, just for kicks. Now, one thing I didn't do was, see, now this one's playing back a little bit more poorly, right? So what's the difference with this file here? Why is that one playing so poorly? Well, that one there, it dropped, it's only playing at 3 frames a second, I think? No, it actually doesn't give me a frames per second. It says play, oh yes, it's 3.5. And did we read the coding on that? Encoding, let's see, same encoding. So this one got me confused because, like, I don't know what I did differently, and I think I know the difference. It's right here. MP3 audio. So the other file, I used a WAV or PCM audio track, I believe. I'm going to verify that right now. Yep. So that's part of the Holy Grail. Maybe using an MPEG video codec with a PCM audio track might also work. Maybe using X264 modern encoding at a low bit rate and a PCM audio track might also work. But using, you know, MP3, that alone drives up the CPU utilization. So it's no surprise that this actually helped. So that I would call progress. So just a day-old file as opposed to fresh. Yeah, basically. Up to about 15 frames per second for liquid crystal is about as good as you can expect, you think? Probably. And yeah, Smooth 10 does the trick. Now that said, I would like to drive it up to 15 and 24. But because I used that MP3 audio coding, I had, you know, trouble with that. Shout out to the Peter Venkman fan site. But anyway, and it's good to see a Blight Wave. Okay, so now we got that sorted out. Let's get back to that other app after I minimize the window. Man, it's such a shame that James is gone. I would thought maybe he'd come back after a few minutes and be like, oh, you're not strobing anymore. Whee! What up, DJ? Play nice. It's good to have a fellow DJ, probably a real DJ in the chat here. Okay, so we got our input file here. So what do we do with it? Well, I already sent it straight to the folder where I have the FFmpeg executable running now. Speaking of stroboscopic, this one's going to be distracting. Oh, I was on the wrong monitor. I'm sorry. But anyway, we have a command line on this screen, as you can see here. And we got a bunch of crap on screen that's making it hard to read, so I'll minimize it for you guys. Yo, man, I downloaded a bunch of shit. So, funny story here. I was trying to take, like, an AI video generator. We got to cover that. We got to cover that. I don't know if I want to show you guys what I was working on, though, because it's kind of sick. Well, it's not sick, but it's what I did. I downloaded a audio bite from a porn star. Then I used the AI voice thing to try to, like, replicate the voice of the porn star. Then I took a screenshot of the porn star, and I put it inside this other AI tool called Hello, and I used a Dream Face or Dream Talk. And in theory, it's supposed to animate the lips. It's supposed to give it the picture facial expression, right? So I do this, and I don't even know why. I just want to know if I could do it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like obviously I'm not going to be like typing out words and have like a fake cartoon lady talking to me on the screen, but, you know, send it to people as like a gag or something like that. Maybe have like a video where the porn star is saying, hello, DJ Play Nice Star, to use it as an example. And like, you know, then you would just have it like, you know, creep people out. They'd be like, did this lady really just message me? So, yeah, that's a side project there. If you guys want to see how that works, I can show you. But I suspect that might be a stream we have to do separately, you know, so we can put a label on it. Maybe say it's not family friendly. Yo, that's going to be fun. I can't wait till next week. I believe that would be the 16th. We're going to have a fun time. We're going to talk about space, science, turtles, and anything in between. If there's anything, you know, you want bullet points or you want, obviously you can ask me questions if you want, you know, you can, but if you want to suggest anything I should bring with me, let me know. Maybe we'll have PD pay a visit. In fact, I've been doing, yeah, no, that sounds super sus. That does sound sus, doesn't it? Doesn't it, Slim? It's like the video with DSP, but that's a whole other. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole right now. Yeah, anything more I could say is gonna dig a grave. So I'm not gonna dig that grave right now. Any deeper than I've already done. Yes, that is true. That is absolutely true. So that's the big thing about it. That is totally. So Slim was saying when you start getting up to 24 frames per second on a liquid crystal display, you're gonna get bleed over from one frame to the next. That is definitely very likely. And I do see a pop culture mechanic. Yeah, it's not bad for Casio did some good stuff. Casio is on fire. So this was an E15. This is an E100. Oh, this is an E125. This would have been the Cadillac model in its time. Now, the thing that's funny is that these devices are better as far as retro hardware goes because the compact or HP iPACs, I had one back in the day. It was freaking, I had 3 of them, and they were all great. Like, they had this thing called expansion packs where you'd slide the PDA inside of a expansion pack, and it would have either an extra memory card slot or some other functionality. They even had an expansion pack that had 2 PCMCIA card slots. So if you had like a regular desktop-based Wi-Fi card or some other desktop, laptop Wi-Fi card, I should say, or some other laptop peripheral, and the drivers were available, you'd be able to put it inside that particular iPack. And it had its own external battery pack because it would provide power to the PC card. But the thing is that the HP iPACs of that era, they used a lithium-ion polymer battery pack. They used a very early variant as far as I understand. I don't even know if anyone else used lithium polymer at that point in time. They might have literally used a very early iteration of it. And, you know, they have certain considerations, like on the early iPac that had it, the 3600 series, you would be able to turn off the battery so that you could put it in storage for like a few weeks at a time. And, you know, you can like, yeah, right. I think that'd be cool, you know. Like, yeah, so the first time I did it, DJ Play Nice, I had it like, what did I have it say? I had, what the hell was it? Which one star was it? I think I picked The heck is her name? Madison Ivy. Which is like probably old now. But anyway, I took a screenshot of Madison Ivy, and it was like, I recorded myself going, "Hi, how can I help you?" And then I recorded the text-to-speech doing it. I typed in the words, "Hi, how can I help you?" And I tried taking her soundbite, adding it to the AI software, and then having the AI software spit out her voice. And it didn't really quite sound like her, but it sounded like a lady. So I was like, okay, progress. But then animating the face, that took a bit more computation. I took a break from it until like the other day. So the other day I revisited the AI tool, and some of the stuff would use up all of my video memory on the spot, all 6 gigs. And then it would take like a half hour to like give me an error. It would be chewing on the data, processing it, and then it would crash. So I was like, maybe this video has too much of a background on it. So I go, okay, I'll try getting a video. Either I have to crop it, I have to erase the background, or I have to find a different, thing. So yeah, trial and error. But that one, honestly, is taking more work than I like it to take. But I feel like we could do something cool with that capability. So, But getting back on topic here, I'm easily sidetracked here. All right. Look at that. So this one, my point about the device being good as a retro device, that the lithium polymer battery packs, in order for me to replace them, I have to buy a new one. If I can't buy a new lithium polymer battery pack that's compatible with the HP iPack, my only recourse would be to like essentially have one manufactured or find one that's close. Now, I believe that the way it works is there's a ribbon cable that is unique to the HP iPack. So when you take the battery and replace it, what you could do probably is maybe desolder or remove the ribbon cable, essentially separate the flex cable, because the battery, it should be fairly universal. The battery should basically have like a positive and negative pole on it, 1, 2. So if you remove that ribbon cable, that yellowish orange Mylar flex cable, and you can attach the positive and negative poles to a new battery that has its own positive and negative poles, then the custom connector should be able to receive the correct voltage and do do the things it's supposed to do. That being said, it's easier said than done. Whereas this, on the other hand, we just have 2 AA's and a backup battery that's like a video game battery. Heck, let's take a look. See? And so that's obviously like, that can last practically forever as long as you can get your hands on AA batteries, AAA batteries. And even when they stop, becoming available, I suspect you could, work something out easily. This device uses a custom battery pack, but it's not terribly unique. It's something that David Glenn could probably refurbish, or that I could refurbish by using the methodology that David Glenn has put forth on his own streams. So that's why these are very good retro devices in that regard. As much as I like the HP iPacks back in the day, nowadays these perform this one performs about the same as my iPack. The iPack I had a better screen. The iPack I had a trans-reflective screen. So, in fact, my watch has a very similar display. So, it's not super vibrant or anything like that. It's not brightly lit. But under sunlight, it's like reading an e-reader. It's got like that e-ink display, but it's in color. And, it doesn't use up any power when it's stationary. It doesn't need a backlight to be running in order for you to see it. And that's basically how the HP iPacks would run. Whereas this one here, as you can see, has like an active matrix display panel with the backlight cold cathode fluorescent light bulb in there, and I believe if you change the brightness, the flicker will change. So anyway, where were we? Okay, so real quick, let's get back here and run. She's gonna run. Don't run too fast. No running in the hallway, kids. I'm sure I know you meant that metaphorically. And you have a wonderful night. All right, let's go. All right, so now, PCM, okay, so this is critical. PCM 16-bit, right? So we're going to do, what did I tell it to do? How many frames a second did I tell it to do? Do you remember? Because I don't. 10? I picked 10? Why did I pick 10? I want more. 12 would be a good round number, I think, because 12 is half of 24, So we might do that one, but, so right now, 232 by 174, right? Okay, good. Okay, the MP3 is good. We're going to do this one now. So we're just going to go straight to this file. So we're going to copy the file name. We're going to open up the the editor I was using this text editor to kind of formulate the command before I use it. So you can see it's got the file name we're about to use, the invocation of ffmpeg. So what we would do is we just have to swap this file name out for that one. Oops, I don't need to save it. Codec video libxvid. Q scale 20. This is a quality thing. So that might be my main problem, is that the other file that was an AVI, maybe I used a static bit rate. This is a quality factor. The higher the number, the lower the quality. The lower number, the faster. So, you know, we can maybe try this setting just for fun and see if that helps at all. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why it played like crap. And then you got over here the output. So this one was what? M7E14. These are long file names. I should probably lower them, shorten them. But for now, we're just going to go with this. So that's the thingy. So let's go ahead and use it and see what happens. Nah, this is Sublime Text, which is a good text editor. But once in a while, it'll prompt you. It'll be like, oh, would you like to buy this app? And it's like, you know, it's like, it's a text editor. It's like, no, I don't want to spend $200 on a text editor. And I did switch to a different one called Atom. It was very good. But Atom just kind of like was a pain in it. They stopped supporting it. That's what happened. All right, so no file, such file exists. So what did I do wrong? Is there a space in there? Let's re-enter the file name again. I guess there is a typographical error in there. Oh, I see what I did. Okay, well, whatever. We're going to leave the file name alone there because it doesn't really matter if the information in the input name is incorrect. And we're going to clear that out. We can do clear screen if we want. Doesn't really matter. And what did it not like? Oh, okay, unknown encoder. PCM, I must have... Oh, I know why. I tried cheating and making it 8-bit audio, but apparently you can't just change that number and make it 8-bit audio. There's like another step in that. There we go. So now you're going to see it's going to be very fast doing that 300 times real time. So it's already done. A whole episode of Macross 7 is done. It's in that folder right there. So what do we do now? Well, we got to copy it to the Pocket PC. Oh, 200 megs compared to the 80 megabyte file. So, well, let's see what happens. So how do we do this? Well, step one. Oh, wait, that's the memory card reader. We got to get the memory card first. Okay, there's a compact flash memory card. Now, I'm going to just copy it. Now, I could just use the send to dialog and probably just, you know, send it to. But we're going to put it in a specific folder. Now, what's funny is I had to go into Device Manager and disable a bunch of extra drive letters because I have a memory card reader built into my tower. It's just that I don't trust the CF slot on that memory card reader, so I'm using this removable one. It's just a little bit easier to operate this one and, you know, constantly insert and remove the thing. Sometimes I have to straighten out the pins on the internal one, so I like my internal memory card reader a lot, but the CF card slot was built in a questionable manner. All right, so we're going to put this in the FFmpeg folder, and, you know, we'll just say we're going to just put a new folder. We're going to call this OG. Now, it's going to say I ran out of space. Oh, it didn't. Wait, what the hell happened there? Oh, it actually worked. Okay, good. So, there we go. And then we can put it right into the PDA. And then we're going to move on to some astronomy, if that interests you guys. If only Ironcaster could watch anime that quickly. I know, right? Yo, I'm trying to tell the dude, you know, I mean, like, I understand he's got a lot of, you know, commitments. He works hard. I respect that thoroughly. But I can't comprehend watching Neon Genesis Evangelion. And maybe like 10 years ago I could comprehend it, or 20 years ago. But today, I could not comprehend watching Neon Genesis Evangelion without watching the, you know, the movie End of Ava immediately after, because it ties everything up. The problem with Evangelion is, like, those last 2 episodes are a big WTF. And I empathize with the way people react to those episodes. I do. I mean, like, Hideaki Anno literally got hate mail and death threats because of it. And yet, meanwhile, You know, like meanwhile, what was it? Like they somehow get the funding to do the movie. I don't know the story behind that, but they did apparently, right? And at that point in time, they corrected the ills of the past and they tied up the story in a manner which kind of completes it, you know? I mean, you get a proper second impact and a third impact, whatever the heck it was, you know? And so I think he should clear space in his schedule and just like skip something else or delay something else in lieu of that. But that being said, maybe he's watching better anime and maybe he just needs a break from Ava. I could definitely understand that. Sometimes when you watch an entire series back to back, you need to take a break, just get into a different universe. I watched 3 different episodes after dinner today. I haven't, but at some point I got a set of capacitors for my Game Gear, and as soon as I find my Game Gear, I think I know what the capacitors are, and I want to do that because now I'm way more comfortable soldering than I was in the past. In the past, I was very uncomfortable soldering. I didn't understand basics like what the purpose of flux was. Makes a huge difference. Once you know what flux is, it's like, or what it does, it's like, in my opinion, you could solder without flux, I guess. I don't know why you would. You know what I mean? It's like one of those situations. So I learned something from that. All right. Maybe that's why. All right. PCM. Da-da-dum. Okay, so I'm thinking out loud here. Maybe we're just trying to backlight. What did I just click? No, honestly, I don't know what I just... Oh, I see what I clicked. All media files. All right, let's... Let me read the screen before I try to angle it for you guys, all right? Okay, there's the episode I just did. Now, my concern is it might not play back properly because it's 200 megabytes. That alone might mean there's more data running through the stream or device. I feel like I had a better time getting the lighting before. Like, what's different now? Maybe I gotta just cover the screen up. I think this is way more distracting than anything. Yeah, let's just let it be. As John Lennon would say. You know why? I know what it is. Before, the reflections didn't matter because I was, you know, we had like less screen area being tied up. Now we have more screen area being tied up by the video. So it's got that box. Look, you got the, like, I shaved away 5 pixels on either side on purpose. Let's just see what happens. Now, you can scale up the image. Okay, that's not really playing at all. That's like progressively worse. So my theory is it's either I did something wrong with the encoding, the frame rate and resolution are too high, or the audio. That is the problem. The audio bit rate, I have to learn how to lower that or something. It's at 768K per second. So that's gobbling up like all of the, you know, all of it. All of the performance of the device. So we're going to play with that, and I'll upload a short after I succeed in my endeavor, all right? Because I made great progress, but clearly, evidently, this is not it. Or at least not at the moment. It won't be possible to exhibit progress. I can show you the device with the color screen playing video, but I think we all understand that, that just, you know, like that, you know, of course, it's going to be better. It's going to be crappy compared to a modern phone, so we're just gonna, you know, skip that demonstration, and I'll play with this after dinner. So anyway, the other thing, so we did some work on the telescope. I actually don't know if it'll work or not. So I did a couple of things. I replaced the USB hub, and the new USB hub was actually pretty good, but I swapped it out anyway. Damn! Check out that screenshot. Look at, I mean, that thumbnail over there. That has like some Makini style art there, but different. But getting back on topic here. But there's a waifu for those who are looking for a waifu. I was just checking my notifications real quick. I was going to go stalk James and be like, buddy, I stopped with the strobe. Come back to me. But jokes aside, we got other people streaming too. We got Deleted Scenes. We got Stalk of Iron. We got Arvis218 playing some cool ass game. Oh, it's Final Fantasy 7. All right, let's get back to this angle. Okay, there we go. I just had to move some stuff out of my way. Okay, telescope is in the park position. We're going to unpark it. Already unparked it. We're now going to open up shop cap and pray. Because if it doesn't work, I have to go back outside. Got to move down the road. Excuse me. Well, I hope you have a good move down the road. If you need any assistance, I'm in New York. So, you know. It can play MPEGs, but can it mine Bitcoin? No, but it can play Crisis on ultra low. Actually can't play Crisis at all. But it might play Doom. The color device will play Doom. This black and white device, when I was younger... Oh, come on! Alright, we don't have any... Look at this shit. Like, what the fudge? Like, did I not... Oh, crap. Wait, did I... I'm thinking out loud here. Trying to remember how I did this here. We're missing something here. I might have to go outside right now. How do you guys feel about me going outside right now? Is there anything I could play in the meantime to entertain you guys while I go outside? Well, you know what I could do. So I've been doing something insane. Not insane, but funny trick. So when I'm on Jolly's show, sometimes I have to step away from my desk to use the bathroom or something like that. So I have a cool little trick I've been using. See, it looks like I'm here, right? It looks like Petey's sitting here now, but it's just a recording. And so what I do is I just you know, basically yeah, let's see, I have it wandering away from things, and I'm trying to watch and go do something else. Yeah, well, that's exactly what I do. And that's why I have this robot here. Playing Doom on anything doesn't say much. I see someone put Doom on a freaking toothbrush. I'm not even kidding. I literally saw someone put Doom on a toothbrush. Sure, you could use some fresh air. How would you know? You know it, though. You know it. Hey, what's up there, L? Yeah, I'm just using him as a placeholder while I go and I want to check the USB hub on the telescope real quick because I don't see any of my devices and I want to connect to it. You know, like I wanted to like show people space crap. Well, we went over some video encoding crap a few minutes ago on the old vintage device, and it's gonna need more. It's gonna need more effort on my part, but I made a breakthrough. I was able to use a XVID or AVI, AVI format with an XVID encoding, balanced with like a low bitrate PCM audio track, basically wave audio instead of MP3, and I was able to get it to hold a solid 10 frames per second. And so now I want to crank up the frame rate, but every time I did it, I was using, I guess, the wrong combination of audio codec settings. At one point, I had a audio track that was a ridiculously high bit rate. So basically, in short, what we're going to do is I'm going to play with that off camera. But for now, what I'm going to do immediately right now is run outside and get that telescope thing, USB hub reconnected. Whatever you want to do, Ronnie, is up to you. We can't dictate. Sure you can. You can dictate anything you want. I don't have to listen. No, I'm kidding. But I appreciate it, Slim. You're right. Slim is absolutely right. Whether you can leave your place or not, well, the customer, you're not customers, but you know what I mean? Like, if I'm doing something that's highly unentertaining, feedback matters, right? Even when James was like, I'm out of here, I do feel like James should have given me like a minute or two longer, like, because I'm not reading the messages constantly, like, I'm trying to, see what I'm doing and stuff, but I would have easily addressed that. If I saw a message, someone says, hey, I'm getting dizzy, it's like, okay, got you. I could easily do it, but Anyway, at this stage here, yeah, I'm gonna just leave the robot up because that background might get some people, but like basically my point is that, yeah, if I get feedback, if you're telling me, hey, Ron, if you leave your desk, it's gonna be really boring, and I'm gonna change the channel. That's relevant feedback. What? That's a thing? I believe it. I believe L. I believe that's actually a thing. Somehow that's a thing. Because I used to use, in school, I used to use Excel Word 2000 to spawn Internet Explorer. So I would put like an Internet Explorer shortcut inside of Word. Have a good night, Pop Culture Mechanic. Thanks for dropping by, man. I hope I was moderately entertaining. And basically, yeah, I would use a Word document with a shortcut inside of it to open up Internet Explorer so that I can get online, even though we weren't supposed to go online in that particular computer lab back in the high school. So yeah, wouldn't be surprised if you could do that. Even for a customer, you have done retail and you know that the customer is not always right. That is a valid point, especially in the context of retail. Saya, David Glenn. I know what I says. See ya. You could set up a text to voice along with that. Yes, actually, that's what I was working on. So real quick, before I go outside to check the telescope, let's there's an app I use. It's called Pinocchio, and it's sort of like a thing that makes it easy to download all of the dependencies for AI. Like to run locally on your own computer. Where's my remote control? Has anybody seen the remote control for my lights? Has anybody? I was using the remote. You all know what I'm talking about. I was pointing it at my light. You guys know where it is. See, found it. All right, good. That'll do. It's the green screen. So, okay. These are the apps I was talking about before. So we got Dream Talk and Hello. Hello is supposed to animate this girl's face or any face, but the problem is it seems to be a bit more resource intensive. Dream Talk, in theory, is crappier but easier, faster to get running. I ended up, using these two, Open Voice and Magnet. This one here is, I think, more simplistic. This is, I believe, text to speech. And so whenever you want to download, it's almost got like a little app store type setup. And what you do is you basically type in what you're looking for, or you go through the categories. Then it downloads the little applet. It downloads the dependencies for it. I don't know if it's running a container or if it just has a bunch of subfolders with all of the stuff in there. But you can see it's downloading something from Git, or it's launching something that was from a cloned Git repo. So that's already been done. Torch library. I used Torch for frame interpolation recently. Huh. And so at this point, this one's weird. This is not even, in fact, I got an idea. Someone give me an idea. This is a music generator. It's garbage, but give me an idea, like music. Just tell me what music is. See, this says 80s electronic track with melodic synthesizers, catchy beat, and groovy bass. So it's going to do the processing. So while I go outside, we're going to create some music real quick. So how does that sound to you guys, huh? That's true, too. But yeah, that would be a little more complicated, but interesting, and it's not impossible. I mean, it's not a bad idea, Oh, Nayo. Sometimes they're socialists, so they're left. Yeah, that's true, too. The customer is sometimes left. One of the funny things, like, the customers, they love buying stuff, and it's like, everybody in a communist country engages in capitalism or the free market, right? In fact, like, if you want to get the goods that you're not allowed to get, or that aren't available, or that are heavily rationed, so it's like, even in a communist country, you're going to see capitalism is the only way that people get the goods that they actually want sometimes, and that is fundamentally what an economy is, right? Like, the means by which you get something from one place to another place, and how you get that exchange where it's like Starship Troopers did a really good job of actually talking about this. There was a teacher in the book, I forgot his name, but the character would keep having flashbacks, Ensign Rico, Lieutenant Rico, whatever, the soldier, would have these flashbacks to his moral philosophy lectures. And the teacher lecturing would, like, one time talked about price, and how price is a fiction, and how, essentially, like, the value is a fiction that, basically is dictated or affected by, how much is something worth to you, and how much something is worth to the other person, how much are they willing to part with it. And it was just like a very like straightforward, none of that, fluff lamb, that hippy dippy crap, where, we can act like we got bleeding hearts. Like, here's a quick example. I'm sorry, you brought me down a rabbit hole, El, and I just have to bring this up real quick. There was, what do you call it, like during the Hurricane Sandy? During Superstorm Sandy, because that's what they called it at the time, I think. But anyway, during Hurricane Sandy, infrastructure is knocked out in New York and New Jersey, and the people had power outages from anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks. And gasoline was more scarce because some gas stations, like I remember one gas station had generators, but they didn't refuel the generators. So the pumps ran out of gas, and then they needed electricity to run the pumps, but they didn't have any fuel for the generators, as an example. But my point is that people would get upset about price gouging, that, oh, these gas stations are charging $10 per gallon. Oh, that's so evil. Or people are buying gas and then selling it $10 per gallon, and that's evil. And that might be more questionable. But the problem is that when the government mandates that the price remains at a specific level because it's the right thing to do, now all of a sudden everyone and their mom is going to buy the gas at the lower price until there's no gas left. On the other hand, if the price was $10 per gallon, now somebody's going to go, I don't really need the gas that badly. I'll take a bus. Or I don't need the gas that badly. I'll take the day off, work from home, whatever. Or any number of things, like you work around it. And so as a result, now it's essentially a form of rationing, ensuring that there's enough gasoline available for those who truly need it. So somebody's like, working in emergency services. I don't know. I mean, obviously you don't expect grandma to pay $10 per gallon, but you know what? If grandma really needs to drive her car, she might be willing to pay $10 per gallon to get the gas. And had the government, with the price fixing scheme, that gasoline might not be available to somebody who truly wants it. That's sort of my point. And so the scalpers who buy the cheap gasoline and resell it, you could argue, to some extent, are enabling people who truly need it to have access to the gas. And, there's definitely a back and forth on that, but that's my very quick spiel on that. Now I will go outside. We have something like that here, price ceiling only on basic commodities. And, in theory, it makes some sense. That's interesting. I'm going to research that. It's kind of cool because, like, I have no idea how it affects things in your economy, in your area, But historically and just in random examples, usually, like if the government dictates a price ceiling that's not based on anything but numbers or convenience, it could just mean scarcity of goods, sort of like why people, everything was affordable in the Soviet Union, but you had to wait online to get everything. It was a running joke that you'd wait online for toilet paper, you wait online for bread, you just wait online, sometimes not even know what line you're waiting on. It's like, well, whatever, as long as I get whatever it is that's at the front of this line, I'll take it, But, had they had a price mechanism in the Soviet Union, assuming that they had an economy where people were actually earning money, then, people who need the toilet paper would buy the toilet paper. People who have toilet paper, I don't know. I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole, but it's just kind of interesting to me. Want versus need are two different things. Does not result in scarcity here. Okay, good to know. So, like I said, I'm ignorant of the details anyway. My theory is that maybe the price ceilings are actually legitimate, because look, there's like this saying, people talk about greedflation, and I think it's a bit of a cartoonish concept, but maybe there's truth to it, like if a company charges like an extra, a 50% for a product because it actually costs them more to, distribute it, sell it, and, obtain it, and then this economy fixes itself and the price goes down, then logically the producer or the seller should also reduce their price. And the claim that people make is that the companies selling the product do not lower their price and continue to rake in increased profits, or they now rake in increased profits now that the cost of the goods have gone down, and yet they're still selling them at the high price. And in that case, yeah, maybe it makes sense to have like a price control of that type, or at least some kind of basic, kind of price ceiling. On the other hand, trying to think here. On the other hand, in a actual capitalist free market economy, and there are times where we would argue that this isn't really like Korea. Oh, that's a whole other topic. But like that, you got a lot of regulation at the top. So when people say, "Oh, look how bad capitalism is," it's like, yes, people have free market participation. But there's also the way that the government can pick the winners and losers in Korea, where they have those like 3 big companies with the 3 big families that own every effing thing. And that kind of creates some weird conditions there too, right? But anyway, I'm kind of going sidetracking here. But let's see real quick. I tried preparing a lot of things, but have never tried fixing prices. You're in the wrong business, my friend. The price ceiling is basically so that goods don't exceed a certain price, which should be reasonable. And I guess if it's untenable, they can have that discussion, right? I guess the lawmakers can adjust the price ceiling, or the regulators, whoever's responsible for that, bureaucrats or whoever. Maybe they have some kind of like, measurement. I don't know. But I would think, because I would imagine like, you would see shortages if the price of the goods exceeded the ceiling. If the value of those goods exceeded that price ceiling, then you might see scarcity. But that's a big maybe. Maybe these are goods that are not in high demand. Maybe the price ceiling is helpful. Maybe it's something that I have no idea. I definitely know politicians like to show they're doing good things. So if they have low-hanging fruit, if they could easily do something without consequence that they can claim is good or that they can take credit for, politicians love that stuff, right? The people who bought the toilet paper, the entire pallet of toilet paper, is the reason that people didn't get 3 packs. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. What 3 packs? But jokes aside, yeah, some people are dumb. Like, they'll buy a pallet full of water, and it's like, dude, the water expires. The plastic in the bottle will ruin that water before you get to that point. Price ceilings are based on fair market value after consultation with the affected industries. Okay, that makes logical sense. Like, they actually consult the industries, and assuming the government and the industries are not in some kind of messed up cahoots, that works. Apparently it works. I mean, based on your observation, it works. Yo, Snow Dove, hey, I got a question. How do you feel about me when I'm on your show and I step away from my desk and I use this to play it in the loop? Because clearly I'm here right now. But it works. I got to say, like, I wouldn't normally use it for like the whole show, but usually if I have to go to the bathroom, or if I have to, if I, like that other day I had a late dinner, so I had to run away, eat dinner, and come back, and I want to be there for the finale, of course. And that's why in the chat I said, if you need to get someone else into the stream, just, kick me out so that someone else can join if, I'm blocking the room. And yes, David Glenn, I still got to paint this. I still have to do another sanding on it. I got to do a clear coat, and then I got to paint, mix the paint, but definitely got to clean it up by sanding it and putting a clear coat on that. I forgot it's Monday night on Thursday. Yep. Well, it's the Monday show on Thursday. Remember, we don't change the name of the show because we don't want anyone getting confused. How long have you kept Ronnie from going to the bathroom? Bathroom? I'm going outside. Yep. An administrative body regularly adjusts the ceiling. Yeah, fascinating. I haven't tried that yet, but it is fun getting him off topic. Rice, sardines, noodles are the usual subjects of the ceiling. That makes sense because rice is huge in the Pacific Rim, right? Like, everyone's about their rice, and I guess noodles as well. Sardines, I didn't think of being on that list, but it makes sense. You're surrounded by ocean, a lot of fishing going on. Us Italians are big on sardines too, or at least back in the old country, they were huge on sardines. The robot's still there, I forgot. You'd be surprised how a static screen can keep people talking in chat. I've seen streams where someone just recorded a chat. You know who has the best static stream? It's semi-static. But yeah, I could just leave the chair, right? But you know who had a good one? What's his name? Anime Night 1992. His is hilarious. Like, someone even in the chat goes, and they go, Hentai Night 1992. Because like, he's got like these like 5 girls wearing like bedroom attire, basically, right? Huge, and like, yeah, it's a good bumper screen. It says like, be back in a few minutes, or something like getting started, whatever text he puts on the screen. But it's good. And that alone will keep the guys at least like looking at their screen while he's doing what he's got to do. Or at least in the corner, maybe, if they have it on the TV playing in the background. So anyway, yes, I am going to step outside as soon as I read these 2 messages. For bread, only the most basic loaves made with lower quality materials are subject to price ceiling. Okay, that makes sense. So nobody's price gouging people on shitty bread or lower quality bread, which is good because that would suck to overpay for low quality bread. You could change the camera to your desk. It's messy enough to riff off of. I would, but I'm afraid that I left something on the desk that's inappropriate, and if we go between the camera and the desk real quick, you don't see it. But if I leave it on PD, you can't possibly see anything that's out of place, you know? Hey, what's up, Raquel? SSG2211? It is a good idea. Which one's a good idea? I'm gonna steal that idea. Yes, I know you would. Elle has the coolest OBS setup, second to only mine. Okay, actually, her OBS setup is better than mine in some ways, many ways, most ways, basically. Visually, yes. I mean, mine, I sometimes do weird shit, right? Experimenting with some cool things and stuff. But Elle's OBS setup is cool. It's like her VTuber character is, has different rooms. So, like, you'll see, like, she'll be in her room telling a bedtime story. Or she'll be like, just have her character floating in front of the video game she's playing. So she'll have the VTuber in the corner while playing a game. Or, like, in some cases, like, Elle will show up in Elle's Cafe. And that one's cool. Elle's Cafe is nice. It's like, it looks like a cafe. It's got, like, bar stools. It's got, like, a little neon sign in the back. And, it works. I like that you have, like, different scenes that basically you change it up enough that you have a little variety. It's like same character. Talk about same or different things, but like different settings, So it's like, OBS has the scenes and sources, right? Like that's what we click on to do all of this crap. And the idea that, some of these scenes just represent rooms. I just think it's really cool. You can't see me. I'm doing good. Just winding down. I know it as winding down. I'm reading it incorrectly on purpose. Oh, my dad was talking to a guy on the phone, and the guy kept calling catastrophe a catastrophe. A catastrophe instead of catastrophe, and I thought it was kind of funny. Possibly inappropriate. I'm betting it's some sort of medical silicone insert. Which one? The headpiece? Well, anyway, I'll be right back. Speaking of medical silicone inserts, I'm going to go check the backyard because had I been using silicone USB cables, we might not even need to go through this exercise. I'm going to leave the camera here. You know why I'm going to leave the camera here? Oh, wait, I can't leave the camera there because I want you guys to see Petey. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to kill two birds with one stone right now. There we go. All right, I'll be right back, kiddos. Oh, booty break. That's what I was gonna do. Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned that, Snow. So, I'm easily distracted. So, yeah, I was gonna I learned how to use something in DaVinci Resolve called the Magic Mask. So when I did that upscale, and I'll really go right after this, I swear. But I gotta show you something real quick. When I did a video upscale, I took like a Japanese anime music video, basically like a dance compilation, and I upscaled it, kind of just for the sport of it, because like there were some parts that were atrocious. And if we look here, okay, you got the girl dancing, right? But it was specifically in the original video, this part, what happens is the back here, the video compression is like causing all of this to ripple and dance. I could even find the example real quick. So just for reference, and I'll really go outside after this, but you just reminded me of something here that I think is superbly interesting. Okay, so same video, right? But this is the original one, and the quality is a little lower. You're going to see compression artifacts. But what I want to direct our attention to is this girl here, because this is the part that required like a ton of work that's relevant to booty break. So look at the stairs. Notice the stairs are moving. The plants are moving, but also static elements. You got these lines. You got these ripples. You got all this stuff. The floor underneath it, between her legs too. Like, what's weird is when she moves her legs, you're going to see, like, a haloing effect, as weird as that sounds. And what I mean by that is, like... In fact, it's hard to demonstrate here, but let's just say that, like, there's constantly moving elements next to the legs. So when the legs move close together, those bricks change size, and they move sideways. Like, the video encoder that handled this got really confused by the video, or maybe the compression was too high. So how do you fix that? Because I can upscale the quality of the video, but I can't fix the background. Well, I could fix the background. So what I did was, I had to use something called the Magic Mask. And in DaVinci Resolve, what you do is you draw a blue line on top of whatever you want to isolate from the background. And it detects the colors that you're trying to isolate, and it separates the girl from the background. So essentially now you got a girl on top of a black background, or a blank background. Then I took a screenshot of the behind the girl area, right? and I used Photoshop to like kind of cover, to make sure that everything behind her is filled in so that when she dances, basically I created a background, a wallpaper or a static image that was literally just a static image of the background. But the problem is now that, okay, I put the girl back on top of it, and now we don't see the compression artifacts. We have a background that's not moving. But what about the plants? What if I want the plants to move? Well, then I did some compositing. I did everything in layers and I cropped the plants in such a way that we don't get any of the compression artifacts or any of that rippling effect. But now you can see the plants are moving. See? So the plants move, but the stairs do not move. The ground does not move. This doesn't move. This doesn't move. And I'm very proud of that. But why is this relevant? Because it means that we can use the same method to take someone from the booty break and separate them from the background. And then I can have maybe a girl from a booty break like right here. How cool would that be? And then if we get virtual reality headsets working, maybe we can make something work out. So we'll see. But in the meantime, I'm going to go outside and check the telescope. But right before I go outside, I'm going to read the chat one more time because I think we just unpacked a lot. Orc Warchief Reviews reads everyone's names wrong on purpose. That's a fun thing to do. Apparently it's a Canadian thing to do. It is. Which one's a Canadian thing to do? Booty breaks or silicone inserts? Oh yeah, that makes sense. That is a Canadian thing to do. This is the worst booty break ever. I know, right? This is a weeb break, bro. You could loop that better if you copy the video and reverse it. That's a good idea. Yeah, actually I agree with you on that. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Like the way I see it, if you do a loop for long enough, nobody ever catches the... But like, you're right. And I'm going to do that because that makes a lot of sense. The middle of the floor where she's standing looks a little off. Yeah, but that's okay. It's still better than before, I mean, like after you spend like 15 hours on something, you got to kind of call it quits at some point and just wrap it up. But also the ground was always kind of imperfect. So it's like what I did was I had to use a transitional fade to make the floor blend in between clips. Trust me, a lot of work went into that shit. I can't see what's wrong. Exactly, because I fixed it. But you have to look at the... Yeah, right? Yeah, you see, Well, Snap, I might have you edit a music video for me. Well, yeah, I was going to say, like, if you give me, like, a small task or even a medium task or, hell, I even take a bigger task. But, something that, like, I know I can commit to, right? Where it's, like, like, I can commit to the time frame. But, throw something at my way. I'd be happy to give it a shot because I know it would give me tons of internet clout to edit anything whatsoever for your channel. But also it'd be kind of fun to, take a crack at editing a music video, honestly. Like, even if it's difficult, I would love to take a crack at it. It'd be interesting. For $50 you can get a real one. What, really? BRB? Good. I'm about to leave. I'll come back. Ronnie with thong keenies behind him. Yeah, that's right. Hey, Robot DJ, you look at the snow model? No, I did not, but I will. That's interesting. Gotta close the head hose. There are hoes in the house. Haven't heard that song in a while, right? There are hoes in this house. Word, please do. It's good to see you, Real Wade Nation gaming clips. I'll be right back, everybody. I'm gonna leave PD here. You're gonna see me log into the telescope remotely. Remind me to unmute my sound when I get back. be out there. I remembered to unmute my microphone. It sounded like something the doctor would day. Why would the doctor day anything? I think he would do things by night so that nobody sees his phone booth. What do I put the 8-track? Right over here. You know, that's like what I did. So I did like an AI voice thing with Pete. Oh, I got it. We're gonna do some music. We're gonna compete with Snow Dub Music and Entertainment real quick. All right. So let's see here. It's gonna be okay. 80s funky bass with rap beats and a groovy, a deep voice chanting "Go Hawks, Hawks" 12 times with cymbals in the background. I don't even know what's gonna happen. Oh, let's see what the music did before. That was the generic music it provided us with. All right, let's see what happens now. We're gonna do it. We're gonna compete with Jolly. We're gonna outdo him using artificial intelligentsia. Actually, I'm just trolling, you know that. But let's see what happens. Same place as where the PB&J goes. Yes. I had a PB&J on my desk. I ate it yesterday. Lol, I'll be back in a bit. Well, I was back in a bit. I have the biggest brain in the universe and nobody wants to use it. And now I get it. Marvin, the paranoid android. The robots are changing Ronnie's settings. Yeah, oh yeah, so that worked out, I think, but yeah, of course, yeah, that was that's just a loop of me sitting at the desk wearing my robot suit, yeah. All right, let's see if the music we have is ready. All right, we ready, guys? Okay, nobody's saying "Go Hawks." It's missing the vocal line. This music sucks. I did get it to make up some like generic 80s rock music. That played out pretty good, actually. '90s rock music with electric guitar distortion and a cool bass line. I don't even know what that would mean, a cool bass line, but we're gonna do it anyway. And I think when you do this, it uses up like all of the video memory. Actually, no, this one is more graceful. This one uses only some of the video memory, but what it does do is it utilizes the CUDA cores, I think. There we go. See, CUDA cores, and yeah, it does. It uses all of the video RAM. Look at that. It's using almost all of the remaining video RAM. That graph, you didn't see it before, but when I close the app, this graph will take a significant dip. Yes, you think so? Oh, maybe that's what it. Yeah. Oh, well, that'll do it every time. Okay. Girl behind the stairs. What girl? There's a girl behind the stairs. There is no girl here. Unless I missed something. Did I play a different video clip while I was away? What's I don't think so. I mean, I erased it, but you know, let's see here. Oh, that's pretty bad. Now, you can pick different AI models down here, but some of them take a really long time. So we're going to just end it right now. We're not going to end this stream. We're going to end this. See, it does all this command line stuff in the background, which is convenient. You don't have to do all that shit. Just, you know, it's like you can run it in a web browser. You can run this and then open the thing in a web browser. So you got different ways you can run these. But as soon as I look at the video RAM, it went down already. So the minute I stopped it, it freed up a ton of video memory, and then it might even free up a little more. Yeah. Well, anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. Oh, that one. Yeah. I'm sorry. To answer your question, no, I did not create that video. I merely upscaled it. Somebody else, that was a bunch of submissions that were sent somebody else a while ago. They compiled it into one big video, right? And they did a pretty good job editing it. Like even the transitions in some parts are done like really nicely. Like where like a person is like standing like this and it fades into another person standing the same way. Like it's like really well done. But the problem was in some, all I did was, Raquel, was upscaled it. So essentially I increased, yeah, I got you. Basically all I did was I increased the quality, I increased the resolution, filled in some blanks, and now you can't always magically create detail where there is none, but some of the video submissions in that video, some of the individuals recorded their video at 720p. So I was able to take that 720p and make it into 1080p using an application that's usually designed to take a good, if you have a good 1080p video recording, there's an app called Topaz AI, and Topaz AI can upscale 1080p to 4K. Now, you could try anything, but realistically, if the detail doesn't exist in a low resolution video, you can't magically add detail. So I was like, okay, well, I don't expect to upscale it to 4K, nor do I have any reason to do that. But for the 720p videos, going from 720p to 1080p, I knew that would work. But some of the videos were 480p, riddled with a lot of video compression, like the girl in front of the stairs. And so, like, not only did I upscale those, but I would use different methods of upscaling them, compare them, and then I would mix and match them. So in like one of the segments, the video frame rate looked very choppy. So I had to use a different setting for that dancer. So the idea was that I actually used like 3 different methods of upscaling, and then I kind of mixed and matched the parts that looked good, because one method of upscaling might look good on some of the dancers, but it won't look good on the entire video since they're all recorded by different people. And then, you know, you get the idea. So we mix and match it and play around with it, and it was a fun exercise because as a result, I learned how to use the magic mask, and I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do some really cool crap with that in the future. Yeah, exactly. You got it, Raquel. And thank you very much. Like trying to upscale 144 to 8. Yeah, exactly, my friend. Yep. All right, so let's see how the telescope behaves now that we got this back. So I'm not going to have super high hopes, but we reconnected to the camera. We connected to the motorized focuser. We're going to switch it back from live mode to still mode because that just is better for what we're doing here. Oh, we're going to get rid of the robot. I'm sorry. Let's get rid of the toaster. Okay. So now we're going to crank up the exposure time. We're going to start at 1 second. In fact, we're going to load a preset so that I don't have to click on a bunch of crap. That saves me a little bit of work, doesn't it? I really hope this USB hub works because if it doesn't, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. Like, I'm going to have to figure something out. But it's not abnormal in that the cold weather does wreak havoc with the USB cables by making them stiff. One thing I would do is I should get my 3D printer up and running between tomorrow maybe, because if I get my 3D printer up and running, I can then print out something maybe to make, you know, like a harness, something that holds the USB cables in a rigid manner, almost like when you immobilize a leg when you're transporting someone with a broken leg, as you might do. So I think we can, like I think I could work something out, but it's been pretty brutal this winter when the cables got stiff. Things just started misbehaving a little bit more. Correct. Upscaling is different than remastering. Yep, that is also true. Hey, where's the audio coming from? We're gonna mute the audio. Okay, there we go. Okay, where were we? Okay, so let's do a quick framing shot. Make sure we got ourselves ready. Okay, so that's probably Polaris. Who knows? Because the autofocus, unfortunately, we ran into, problems with the autofocus before when we were... Okay, good. That's working. Okay, good. Yeah, because what was happening was I was using the motorized focuser in an automated manner, and it was overshooting the mark. And I was like, okay, this is not good because, like, I don't, I guess that's not how it's supposed to work. But now that it's connected... Oh, look at that. We can see a second star right next to Polaris because it's a double star. Polaris is not just one star, it is two. That appears to be one star to the unaided eye. but with enough magnification, with a high enough focal length, you reveal detail that you never knew was there. Well, unless you look at a star chart. Well, we're going to leave it like that for now, and we're going to then pick a target. So where do we want to aim the telescope, kids? So let's see, the moon is out right now, and the moon is a bane on our existence in astrophotography because it creates a lot of light pollution and sky glow. And this is when I discovered the problems I was having. So what happened was I was taking pictures of the moon flying through the meridian, which means it's flying directly overhead. And when I did, that's when I started having devices disconnecting and reconnecting. And mostly it worked good. It's just that the camera would freeze up once in a while and I have to reopen the camera. And I was like, this is not the normal mode of failure that I'm accustomed to. So I was like, okay, I knew where the weak link was because when I replaced the USB hub, I decided to experiment with a different type of USB hub. And it worked okay when it was warmer out, but then it got really unreliable on me when it got cold out. So at that point, I said, okay, we're going to put back the old USB hub, except that one's broken. So I bought a new version of the old USB hub already, and I had it on standby just in case, partially for this reason. So I was able to put a USB hub of a known type in, one that worked really well in the past. The only reason I had to replace its predecessor was because it got hit in the rain. This new USB hub that I just put in did not get rained on, and so essentially, like I said, it's been tested. Like I have a part, like I basically took a 7-port USB hub out and I replaced it with the same brand, but a 4-port USB hub. And I have my reasons for that, but it worked out. So anyway, we get back to here. Enhance. One of Kepler's, perhaps. Ooh. And that might be like really deep, but we'll see. We'll see what we got. What's up, the Hills of Silence? Good to see you, man. Thanks for dropping in. All right, so now what I like to do is I run Stellarium locally. So we have Stellarium on my top monitor right here. And this is helpful because we can sync it up to the current time. And we could basically get a visual preview. And yeah, this month we're going to have some planetary lineups, I think. So you got like Mars right now. But we're going to just pick a target. Now, here's the problem was before, all of this stuff is inside the Milky Way galaxy. That's why it looks like it's clustered together in a straight line, basically, because it's in our galaxy. So if we rewind time, you can see like this is what it was like earlier this evening. So what happened was when I started imaging, I had a bunch of crap flying over my position, which is great. It means that we have things inside our galaxy like nebulas and star clusters. And anything that's flying directly overhead is going to be the best. Like you're going to get, like, basically if you're looking at something over you, the light has to travel through less atmosphere. But if you have to take a picture of an object that's at a low angle near the ground, there's going to be more layers of atmosphere between you and the object. And so as a result, you're going to get a crappier picture. And so that's why I tend to do my best to try to favor objects that are flying overhead. Have a good night. I hope you had a good rest. I think you're going to have a wonderful sleep tonight because if you had a long day, you're going to sleep really well tonight. And we'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for tuning in, Raquel. And you guys should all check out Raquel SSG 2211. And I might even have it in my stream elements. Zoom, enhance. Now you can take a picture of that license plate and then enhance it. Oh, I got it. Zoom, enhance. Zoom, enhance. Now, can you take a picture of that license plate and then enhance it? Cool. Now you're ready to work on Law and Order. Dong, 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 dong. So yeah, this would have been an ideal, area to image objects, Am I on camera, by the way? I don't even know. Okay, good. I am on camera. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm on camera. But the time is not 9 o'clock. It is now 11 o'clock. So we could image some stuff over here, but the other issue is that we don't want to point the telescope really close to that region of the sky, because then we're going to pick up the light pollution from the moon or the sky glow. So most likely, I think I know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do the Cigar Galaxy because I need to get some pictures of it anyway. So there's the Cigar Galaxy, and you can see it's cool. It looks like a cigar. You got this red stuff coming out. That's the hydrogen alpha region. So we actually use a separate pass on a hydrogen alpha filter to capture that red stuff. But we're going to capture this with red, blue, and green filters, and that should hopefully bring out some semblance of this purplish color here. Next to M82 is M81. M81 is Bode's galaxy. And Bode's galaxy is a spiral galaxy. So with enough exposure time and integration and stacking, we might even be able to eke out detail from this whirlpool shape. If I had a camera rotator, I would rotate the camera so that the Garland galaxy could also be in frame. But really, there's no good way to do this, so I'm just going to disregard the Garland galaxy, and I'm going to center it between these two guys here. If I had a camera rotator, I would center the frame like this. But you can see, like, yeah, so we're going to stick to this right now because that's what I'm able to do. Yeah, we don't have any of those at all. Although we should put some turtles in there. Like, in fact, Elle has some good ideas on the channel. Like the sound clip thing where you say certain words and it plays the sound bite. That shit's cool. So that one, I'm looking to like try to like do something with that technology. I forgot the name of the app. I think it's called Mixbox. I have it written down so I can look at my notes later and I'll remember the name of the app. I heard that this galaxy is actually a Native American and not a Cuban. This galaxy is actually a crepe. That's right, it's French. And that's why we, many weeks ago, we watched a video about colonization in space, which is not space colonization. No. It was about, what was it? Remember that one, guys? Well, David Glenn remembers that one. Colonialism, space colonialism. Not to be mistaken with space colonization. Space astronomy Astronomy colonialism or space colonialism had to do with building telescopes in places where, like, maybe like in Hawaii or in Chile, where maybe you're not paying people a high pay rate to work at the observatory. But of course, the reason they do this is like, okay, you want to put the telescope on top of a mountain. You want to put the telescope in the Atacama Desert, for example, in Chile or one of those places where it's like dry. Now, Hawaii may not be that favorable because, you got all that humidity and crap. So maybe they just like building observatories there because it's a U.S. state and it's paradise. It's like imagine like working on a resort. Imagine being like an astronomer who has to travel to the Hawaiian Observatory, knowing that you'll be able to go to Hawaii. But I also don't think you'd build like multi-million-dollar telescopes that are humongous if there was a better place to put it. I mean, I don't know. I find it hard to believe I don't think it would pick a really suboptimal place for these telescopes, so I'd imagine it is a pretty good place for the telescopes. But if I had to choose where to put a telescope, whether it be Hawaii or Chile, I would definitely put it in Chile or in the Nevada desert or something like that. You get my drift. But yeah, I remember like the girl who was talking about it, she was like had this thing where she would change her wardrobe in the middle of the stream, and some people love it, and some people can't stand it. And I remember a couple of us like, I can't stand this chick. It's like she was all like, colonialism in space. And, she just went on and on about it. It was just like, yawn. But I digress. I didn't really give that person a fair shake, maybe. But that's okay because we're going to do our own colonialism in space right now. Okay, so we need to go and look for the cigar galaxy. We could type in the designation M82, or we could just do keyword cigar galaxy like that. And then to slew to the target, we're going to hit the lightning bolt button right here. Then, upon clicking the lightning bolt button, you can even see the reticle is moving. And then, we're going to refresh the framing shot. We're also going to open up the auto-guiding software because we're going to need to engage auto-guiding here. And this will be the moment of truth whether or not I was successful in, connecting everything, reconnecting everything. Remember. Oh, that's a Star Trek reference. All right. Oh, crap. Oh. Look, if I get up again, I'm going to eat dinner. So we're just going to let it be. So what's wrong? Nothing bad. Just a minor inconvenience. So I can control the focusing mechanism on the big telescope. I cannot remotely control the focuser on the guide scope. And so with temperature changes and things bumping into the scope when I'm adjusting wires, in this case, I think it's just temperature changes. It's out of focus. Severely out of focus. But we're going to improvise anyway, just because we can. But before we improvise, let's validate a couple of things here. Okay, we're gonna put the gain setting to 1600. We're gonna set the offset to 40. We're gonna slow the camera down because it doesn't really matter. We're gonna switch the tracking mode to sidereal because it was in lunar tracking mode, and that would mean that we're synchronizing with the movement of the moon. We need to synchronize with the rotation of the Earth, and we have. So now that we are synchronized with the Earth's rotation, we're going to looks like we're in focus. Okay, so we're in focus more or less, but that's not going to be the end of it. We're just going to dial it in a little further in a moment. So now, there's the cigar. There's the, M81, M82, respectively, from right to left. So we need to center it, but before we center it, we're going to do this. We're going to do plate solve and resync. This is going to automatically, take a picture of the stars. It's going to determine where they're located. It's going to recenter the astronomical mount on the cigar. And you're going to see it right now. See? And now the cigar is in the middle of the frame. So that's progress, right? That means that makes us progressive because we're making progress. Now, BRB, I'm going to stare into my fridge for a minute. I'm going to be staring at my dinner table in a minute. Or maybe 5 minutes. We got to do this. So, deep sky image annotation is cool. You can put a label. So we're going to do set target name. And there we go. It's got the name of the object in the top of the screen. But we want to center it in a customized manner. Now, normally in the past, I would manually click, hey, James, you all right, man? I apologize for that. I hope, yeah. Look, I just didn't see a message until, like, you were about to leave, man. I mean, I'd be happy to correct for that, I mean, like, sure, on one angle, like, I find it hard, like, to comprehend, but, like, you're not the only person who said it, so, fair enough, but I'm glad you're back. So anyway, we're going to do, this one here. We're going to do pixel position and recenter. So all we do is we take this, because now remember, the telescope knows where it's aiming, basically. So it knows the offset from here to there, hopefully, right? And you can even see it's got like a rough idea of where north, south, east, and west are located. Actually, oh shit, that reminds me. You got me there. Let me just. That's actually a important thing. So I don't need to put a hairdryer in the telescope, but what I do need to do is check the dew heaters, because when I reconnected the new USB hub, I did take care to plug those in. So they should be accessible. And hopefully this software detects it, because if it gets cold, it might be dry and cold outside right now. But if you have a high enough humidity level and a temperature drop where, like, or in particular, if the temperature of the telescope or the lens is lower than the dew point, then it's going to draw moisture from the surrounding air to the optics. And so this app is what's control the thing that I can use in order to turn on a heating element on both telescopes in order to, like, warm up the optics just enough. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy hot. It just needs to, provide a little bit of heat. So most likely I'll have to go back outside at some point and unplug and replug in this peripheral. But in this case, we're just going to let it kind of do its thing. Hopefully it's not essential, but we are going to need, I am going to need to deal with that. I know. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, so that's more or less X marks the spot. And can we make it a little bit lower? Maybe, but I'm going to leave it as is. I think it'll be good enough, right? So let's let it roll. So what's next? I feel like we can move it a little bit to the left, maybe. We're going to just leave it alone. All right. So what's next for real? All right, well, let's take a look at our filters. Hey, I don't see the filters. Where the heck are the filters? Okay, well, let's pray that we can get the filters. So we're going to disconnect the camera. And that's not totally uncalled for. Like, when the cameras don't get, when the camera doesn't detect the filter wheel, that's not entirely terrible. Like, usually it's just a matter of me reconnecting it like this, and it'll work. And worst comes to worst, that's absolutely correct. Awesome one. We can fart on the telescope. That is, bummer. I'm going to have to fudge muffins. So, as you can see, Houston, we have a problem. not a humongous problem, but it's a highly inconvenient one. So I can control the temperature of the camera. Okay, cool. I can aim the telescope. Cool. I can move the motorized focuser. Cool, right? What are we missing, guys? I can't change the filter. I literally can't change the filter right now. So, you know, this is understandable. When you're reconnecting cables, you might have to go back and forth a couple of times before everything settles in and behaves correctly. In this case, what am I to do? Well, I think I'm just going to go eat dinner. But before I do, I'm going to try to get this teed off. Okay, so motorized focuser, the telescope mount are here. That is the camera. The camera should have a filter wheel already connected. Maybe I have to jiggle the cable. Maybe I have to unplug it and plug it back in. Maybe when I was doing some work, I bumped into something that was already temperamental and yada, yada, yada. So we could even try maybe like telling device manager to detect it. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe I can do this. If I get access to the Pegasus power box, what I would do is I would use this application to turn off the power to the entire thing and turn it back on remotely. But unfortunately, that one didn't connect, and that's not entirely abnormal. The Pegasus software sometimes, like, decides when it wants to detect this thing. Sometimes you gotta, like, especially in the cold, once again, like, this does not require a lot of throughput to work. But if that USB cable is a little bit, like, on the wrong angle, that's enough to be a pain in my buttocks. So, whatever, right? I think during daylight hours, I'm going to install another USB hub in another area under the tripod so that I can connect some of the peripherals to a different hub. You know, I got different options, so, you know. But that's where we're at with that. So Pegasus ain't loading right now, so I can't control the power level on the thermal components. We're going to close the Secure FTP app. We're going to minimize the sky chart. We're going to close the disk utilization thingy. And we're going to temporarily disconnect from both cameras and the mount. Oh, well, that's interesting. Now the camera's not even showing up. Look at that. Surprise, surprise, kiddos. So that USB cable is going to need a little bit of love because I'm not seeing the camera that I need to see right now. That explains a lot. It really does. So let's go back into SharpCap and see what we get. Because I would really like to, you know, like have this running while I'm eating, or when I come back from dinner, I can, you know, use the telescope. But I mean, I don't want to waste any time. I want it to automatically be taking pictures of the cigar galaxy from now until the time I get back to my desk. Ronnie sometimes may say 5 minutes before he gets to your comment. Sometimes depending on how hot the heat of the conversation is. Yeah, that's true. Depending on the heat of the conversation. But he does try to hit every single comment. Sometimes I skip a bunch just to save time, but I do try to at least acknowledge every single person. And it's true, I do try to acknowledge every comment when I can. It's not the color filter that changed. It's the mathematics of redshift. And we are all trapped in the Mandela effect of what we think about the universe. You know something? I did some research on CERN, and it doesn't do anything. Like, it doesn't do anything, CERN. Like, think about it. Like people like, oh my God, it's changing the universe. It's a Mandela effect. But think about it. How can CERN do that? Like, yes, the magnets look fucking humongous. They do. And the detectors that can detect aberrations in the magnetic field, that can detect the voltages or whatever the heck they're measuring, it's big. I get it. It's a big tunnel with some big equipment on the side of that tunnel, right? But as it turns out with CERN, like, what those magnetic fields are doing are they're essentially taking, like, the beam of particles and compressing them to be about as narrow as this X-Acto knife. I think even narrower. But just imagine that, like, even with the big tunnel that goes many miles long with a pipe in the middle of this big, all of that is there to confine something inside that hole about yay big, or even smaller, the size of a drinking straw maybe. Oh God, I threw the blade at myself. So anyway, what's the worst that can happen? Well, I guess, yeah, like the particle beam might hit the walls. Maybe like it's sort of magnetic field of CERN is supposed to, you know, guide the particles in that loop. And maybe due to a malfunction in magnetic field or something overheating and whatever, that particle beam goes through the wall. But the worst case that it causes is that it bores a little hole in the soil next to the freaking accelerator. That's like the absolute worst thing that can happen. It's not really a problem. It's more of a great expense and inconvenience for the people who now have to, you know, fix that, right? But now that said, maybe there's something I don't understand. Maybe there's something about like when you move particles at, relativistic velocities just under the speed of light. Maybe there is something that happens when they slam into each other. Maybe slamming particles into each other at like 99% the speed of light, no matter how little mass those particles have, the energy that's released when things slam. It's sort of like when people talk about 9/11, they say that a plane couldn't possibly have crashed into the building or flown through the building because there's an example of birds hitting the nose of an airplane and creating a big, deep dent in the nose of the airplane. It's like, oh, well, if the nose of a passenger jet can become, dented, how could that plane penetrate the building? And it's like, dude, when the plane is going like 400 miles an hour, you got all of the weight of that plane, that multiplies the energy. So it's not just the speed you're going at, it's speed times or speed plus, I think it's speed times energy. That is like, speed times mass. And those are the two things that essentially collude to, allow that plane to go and make a big ass hole in the building. But furthermore, just because the nose of the plane is made out of a thin layer of aluminum and you can dent it in, the instrument panel, which is behind the nose of the airplane, right? Because the pilot sits behind the nose of the airplane, the window, the cockpit. I mean, he's got the instrument panel, he's got the steering wheel. They're not going to bolt that steering wheel to sheet metal. They're bolting that to the airframe. They're bolting anything that needs to be bolted down to something that's actually rigid. The nose of the airplane just has to be aerodynamic. It does not have to be terribly strong. It just has to deflect wind. And so I don't find it as a compelling reason to argue against the idea of planes hitting the Twin Towers on that day. But also, what was it like? Yeah, I mean, like literally the instrument panel, all of that crap is held rigidly in place. So it's like, even if the front of the plane got cut off, I'm pretty confident that like even the chair that the captain sits in has enough density to it that if you threw that into the Twin Towers, it would make a hole in the building. You know what I mean? Not a big hole, but like, I don't see the issue there. And I what I hate is on the internet looking at these discussions, everyone thinks they got a smoking gun talking point, like, oh, building 7 shouldn't have collapsed. And look, maybe there was some thermite used. I don't know. But like, one thing I learned later on about building 7's collapse was that there was a gash in the side of the building. I forget if it's the north side or south side or what, but the side of the building that you don't see falling down. So like when you see building 7 falling down, on the other side of the building, there's like a gash in the side of the building that like covers like at least half of the building. So if you got 40 stories, 20 stories of that building have like a rip going through it. And so if the support column at the bottom that matters really was messed up, that might be enough. But the other issue is that people claim that the building fell at near free fall velocity, and saying that if you have a building that's being held together by beams, it can't fall at a free fall velocity without demolition charges. But it turns out in some of the examples where people show a video of the building falling down at free fall velocity, it turns out they doctored the speed at which it falls down. So it's like at that point now you're using evidence that's been manipulated. I'm not saying I trust the media, but at least if the news cameras are not manipulating the evidence, then it's like, yeah, you can use that as a reference, and if you get the undoctored version, you can measure how tall is the building in real life, determine how many pixels are being occupied on screen, how many pixels per second does it move, and then using that, you can actually determine how fast that thing is actually falling. And so some people just, I don't know, so full of shit. I don't blame the people who were shown bad evidence for believing it, but I do take exception with the people who chose to make the evidence, false, to make fake evidence and claim it's real. And it's really a quarter century birthday. Oh, half century. Damn. Yeah, I'm almost there. Well, I'm not there yet. I'm like about a little few years away from that. But happy birthday, Awesome 1. Also, happy birthday, Awesome 2. There's no Awesome 2, is there? But Awesome 3 and 4. And I want to be like Awesome 4 or 5 maybe, just for fun. Like, be like the Awesome 4. It's like, low tier Awesome Ron. Oh, the Awesome Ron. I could be the Awesome Ron. But jokes aside, happy birthday to you. Do we have Wilton singing happy birthday? Let's see if we can get a video of Wilton the Troll singing happy birthday. Wilton the Troll, happy birthday. I feel like Wilton has done this before. All right? No, Wilton the Troll did not. Let's try Floral from Under a Rock. Floral and Wilton and Mrs. Flu did a wonderful show yesterday. They talked about Canada becoming the 51st state. Well, they joked about it, Let's see. There's got to be a happy birthday song here. There's got to be something here. You got the amazing puppy. That's good. If you guys, you know, like, you know, the stories about puppies, that's a good one. These are my favorite. I love life. This is what put this guy's show on the map, was the Wilton's life lessons, because like it's always like the crazy. Of course, you got Punkwater's ponderances right here. But yeah, like Wilton's life lessons are like always counterintuitive. They're freaking awesome.
Time for another story time. Phil the Cucumber.
I tried replicating Flora's voice. It did not come out right.
Phil was trapped in a botanical prison. This made him sad. So, he looked for a solution. And then, he saw in the shadows a dark figure.
Did nothing hit it? That's the thing. Like, if there's a gash in the side of the building. I'm not trying to be like the establishment pig here, really. You know, it's like I'm all about a good conspiracy theory when there's veracity to it. But like, with this one here, there's been so much like misinformation been mixed around that like I had to double check it, triple check it, quadruple check it, and I'm open to the possibility that it might have actually been that mundane, because things hit the building and just not planes, right? Like the weird thing about Building 7 was like, it's not the stuff that burning debris that hit the roof, right? Because that would like also not be compelling. It's the gash on the side of the building that covered like multiple stories to the bottom, I believe. And when people debate it, I even asked like the anti-conspiracy theorists to show me a picture. And of course, you know, those people are so smug. They'll argue like to the death and not show the evidence, which is super annoying. But at some point, I did catch an example of that evidence. I don't know if I collected it. I really hope I did, because I usually do when I see something that's hard to find or something that I had trouble finding. But no, I mean, I'm open-minded to what Papa Cotton has to say about the matter, and I would use that information maybe to further explore it too, you know? So never hurts to get more information, because I might go and rule out one thing and get another tidbit that is super relevant that kind of like overrides that. Steel and masonry or separation due to impact. Yeah, well, nothing impacted the building, but things from the other building did. And the Twin Towers, they tower over Building 7. So it's like not surprising that some shit would fall down. And there were buildings that were hit with debris that didn't collapse that day, but there were also buildings that were hit with debris that did not collapse that day, that had enough damage that they were what's the word? Not decommissioned. Condemned. Like they closed the building down, they had to demolish it later on and build something new. Like I think there's a Verizon building or some crap was missing like a whole corner. Some crazy shit like that. It's some interesting pictures. I even have some first-hand account pictures. Now, as for disputing whether the planes hit the first two towers, that did happen. Like, I'm sorry, I have too many eyewitnesses that I know personally who have heard or saw the planes hitting the buildings, and it's not fucking holograms, but that's a different topic. I just love when people act like we had holograms back then, and that holograms work the way they think they work in science fiction. But I digress. David, did you get a new fridge or new magnets? K-pop calls me A1 source. Or awesome source. I just say weird things that have little basis in reality. Oh yeah, we gotta go back to the pickle.
And it got closer and closer.
A demo? Or like a computer generated, or like a video of the actual building collapsing. Because the thing is that you can see the video collapsing, but if the person doctored it, or if the person took a video that was doctored and didn't know it was doctored, then it could call their claims or their opinion into what do you call it, scrutiny. Basically, everything needs scrutinization, right? Okay, that one I'm not touching with a 2-foot pole. Although I did see a nice video about the Zapruder film and how that poor man, he was like into filming home movies, and after it happened, oh, okay, that's different. I stand corrected. That's interesting. I'm sure it fell down fast, just that, like, the human eye, how precise it is. I'm not trying to doubt you, but well, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if you're making a claim. You're just saying that it went down pretty fast and not trying to add anything else to the thing. But, that's cool to have a first-hand account from you as well. But we're not doing the Kennedy assassination. But yeah, Zapruder was so upset because he was like, an immigrant who did well for himself. And he was really upset to see his favorite president get shot. and he never used a home camera again. He never filmed any home movies again after that. He sold the film. He got rid of it. He was like, get this out of my fucking hands. You know, like, he didn't want to charge too much, but he didn't want to charge too little. He's like, he didn't want people to think he's profiting, but you get the idea. Very interesting video about Mr. Zapruder and his family. All right.
Oh, it's just a raccoon. Need help? The raccoon asked. Phil replied curiously, I'd like to be freed from my botanical prison. I can do that, said the raccoon in a creepy voice. And, in a moment of foolishness, Phil said, sure. Snip. Just joking. That would obviously never happen. The end.
I did that for Awesome One's birthday just now. Oh, Mrs. Diamond's on. Cool.
It's story time.
I say something official. Let's see if there's any happy birthdays in here. I was hoping there'd be like a happy birthday song here. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, they did a new song called "If I Were a Moose." I should definitely drop a link to that stuff before I go. TPP. We're gonna do this one because I just love this song because it's funny. Punk Waddle's in it too.
Listen up, my brothers and sisters. You've been listening to Phils and those with an agenda to destroy your brain cells for far too long. It's time to change your way of doing things. Hold up. TPP is the place to be. Covering the news so honestly. It's a team that's cool and tried and true. Ahead of the culture curve, they're trying to keep you. Jonas and Pro, they run the show, and they dragged in the bearded culture casino. You got Valiant and Lord and Fourth of Line. Wonderful people, yeah, they're alright. They got weird bringing in people like Floral, but made no mistake with Lorena Creole, Amelia, and
He's got
John.
a baby seat.
People like Floral,
He's got a baby seat.
No mistake
That's
with
awesome.
Lorena Creole,
Oh wait,
Amelia
wrong
and
camera,
John,
wrong camera.
stuttering guitarist, Martin and Tawny, and someone called CMS. Fat Steven makes a bunch of all the graphics. Did I mention a partnership with Bending in the comics? Fat Sky is a guy, and Doc Matt does the web stuff. There's probably some people I missed. I hope they're not telling you the news. That should be fun with accurate info that's not been spun. You can figure it out as you will see. The TPP is the place to be.
Babushka lady. Oh yeah.
What do I want for Christmas?
Yeah. So many angles. Or better yet, it happened as an accidental fire from the car behind you. Or you ever hear the one Bill Cooper? Now, Bill Cooper seemed like a good guy, but sometimes he's off. And Bill Cooper said that he shows a video. He's like, the driver. It was the driver who shot Kennedy. It's like, he plays the video back on his show back in like 2000, 1999, 2000. And he's like, look, see, the driver is shooting Kennedy. And it's like one of those situations where someone's making a claim. You're like, are you sure, buddy? Because I cannot see the driver shooting Kennedy. What are you talking about? But yeah, that's the Bill Cooper version. The driver did it. Like, he's like, I don't see it, but he sees it, or claims that he sees it. He's dead now, Bill Cooper. Whole other story. But anyway, nobody's going to ever figure out Kennedy. Yeah, I mean, like, maybe if every last person related to it dies, and then their grandchildren die, maybe, like, finally they'll release the records. But they keep postponing it for a reason. Or a number of reasons. Not by this point, either there's people who know and aren't going to ever... So one guy said he spoke to a guy in a YouTube comment. He said he spoke to a guy who was part of the detail, and he said it was Lyndon Johnson and... who's the other guy? Lyndon Johnson and... I forgot. He blamed it on the assassination on Lyndon Johnson and some other guy. I can't remember who else right now. At this point, either there's people who know and aren't going to ever, in their existence, release it, or just never going to be figured out at this point. It was Canadian Black Ops. Wink, wink. Hey, what up, VGT? Hey, sorry I've missed you in my recent premieres and uploads, but I appreciate you for dropping by, DJ Ronnie G. Well, I appreciate me for dropping by, and I appreciate you for dropping by. I have to tootle off the bed. I have to tootle off the dinner. Oh yeah, that's you. Cool. I'm glad. Thanks, man. I'm glad. I've been enjoying that. It's good to see you, bud. No doubt. It's cool, man. It's all good. Yeah. I figured that you were busy, or that you were automating the premiere. That's great, man. Yeah. Those are cool sports games, man. Like, dude's been playing. I'll have to post that channel at some point in a community post. But we got a friend who plays these like retro sports games, and he like sometimes runs CPU against CPU, and just kind of like plays it as a premiere on his channel, which is really cool. Peace, David. Yeah, peace out, David. Nah, but pleasant dreams. Have a good night's sleep. Some guy on YouTube who said he knows some guy who might have information about the thing. Yep, sounds credible. And hey, those are the most. You'd be surprised, man. You get some gold out of the comments sometimes. But you're absolutely right. You always get a lot of made up shit. Like L did a whole stream about people who prefer meat that is raw. And like, how like, oh, but the marbleized goodness, and she like even made like a funny story, like giving an example of one of the fake stories. It was like talking about how like I was in the war, and when I came back, I tried out a steak without cooking it, and it was good. Well, it was so heavenly. And I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but yeah, she like, that's a thing. That's like a video on Ella's channel. Double dribble. That's cheating, isn't it? Be a duck. Be a duck. Oh yeah, and the Nigel duck. Yeah, I think there's a we got Nigel out there. That's a cool duck. The other day, my duck was sitting next to Nigel on the duck stream. That was kind of cool. And David Glenn's duck was like in the cloud car with the Superior Dave duck, which was interesting. So I just want to try this out one more time, because I would just love it for the thing to reconnect automatically. It did not. So I'm going to have to go eat dinner, and at some point I'm going to go outside. I'm going to reconnect. I'm going to shake the cables for the filter wheel and cross my fingers. The telescope is more or less on target right now, but I might have to recenter it again. But my hope is that I can simply kind of initiate the automated sequence and do my thing. So essentially, to give you a quick example, what we would do, actually I better not open it right now because I don't know how it's going to react when there's no filters connected. But yeah, that's the plan, is to get the filter wheel activated. Then make sure we're still on target. Then initiate the automated sequence, which will automatically switch between each filter and run the autofocus every time it changes the filter. And it'll take dozens of pictures using the prescribed settings. So that's my plan. But for now, we're going to just end the stream here. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Started out a little flustered there. I appreciate your patience while I was getting started. I hope you guys had a good time nonetheless. We'll try to do something more interesting next week, or tonight when I get back from dinner, I am going to tweak the Pocket PC so that we can get it to play movies better. And then next week, I'll have something to show you guys perhaps, or maybe I'll make a short. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Double dribble. I got to raise the volume on the thing.
Old school. Hey, to celebrate, how about we play a little old school double dribble?
Okay, but no stupid-ass shots from the corner, because that's a glitch in the software.
Game on!
I lost it. Where is it?
All right, bring it up the court. And corner three!
No, that's what I'm talking about! Because that's a glitch in the software.
Game on!
Okay, but no stupid-ass shots from the corner, because that's a glitch in the software.
Game on! All right, bring it up the court. And corner three!
No, that's what I'm talking about!
Steal! Up, corner three!
All right, here we go. I got something cooking.
Up, you dropped something. Think I'll head over in this direction. Corner three!
It's a rout. It's a blowout.
You're some bullcrap.
Couple nice passes there. Hey!
See? Competitive ball game. What should I do? Pass and then go up. And corner three!
All right, enough of this mess.
Shoot it. Shoot it from there.
And the refs are letting them play. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now I'm playing for real.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good. What play should I call now? Maybe corner three!
He's hot. He is hot. Keep feeding that guy.
Hi, nice to meet you. Can I have that? Hang out over here for a second. Corner three!
You gotta get out there, Cleveland.
I'm trying. He's taking advantage of poor technology.
Up, lot of dribbling. Swipe! Here we... I hit the wrong button.
Wait,
I think you all know I was going for a corner three.
I can imagine them all having Kermit voices too, doesn't he?
Alrighty, gentlemen and ladies, I'm gonna wrap it up now so I can eat dinner and poke the telescope, you know, because I clearly got to do some telescope work at some point. Where was it? Okay, I gotta close this. So if you don't close this window before closing OBS, it like literally like won't close. That seems to be like any camera. But anyway, where did I put the YouTube chat? I lost the chat window, guys. I'm not gonna be able to read your messages for the duration of tonight. But jokes aside, it's here somewhere. There it is. I don't know. French entree that just raw meat. A beef tartare. Yeah, like if the place is like some people would argue that if the place doesn't cook the meat, they should be shut down. But yet some people insist on uncooked meat. Well, granted, they want the outside to be seared, just not the inside, right? Anyway, that was all covered, like I said. And as I understand it, if you marinate the meat, you cook it slowly. You can then cook it thoroughly if you want. Turtles do rule. Thank you, Lady Miss. That means a lot because I know my turtles love, you know, crickets and worms. You know, all those yummy goodies. Heck, the tortoise will even eat flowers. Oh, I did a community post. Let's see here. Because Elle painted a turtle and gave it to someone. And in fact, oh, look at that. It didn't tag her. Look, this is bullshit. I tried tagging from my phone. It did not tag. But yeah, Elle drew a cool turtle. We're going to find the turtle that Elle drew because it was cool. That's nice. And even my own stream was, we're looking for the turtle. Here it is. See, look. Elle drew a turtle and put it in a frame and gifted it to somebody. That's really cool. And the original picture is right here, at least the one that we saw on stream. And you can see it looks pretty nice. See, there's a couple of things added to it. And, you know, it just looks like a cool little turtle, right? So then that reminded me after Elle got it framed that I have a picture of a turtle on the wall. That's my boy Londo right over there. This is Londo, the Russian tortoise, also known as a horsefield tortoise. And it looks just it's like he looks bigger than he is. He's actually his head is about the size of my thumb, maybe a little bit larger, depending on what angle you're looking at. But it's just like it's a cool close-up picture, right? Isn't that a nice picture? I think it's a nice picture. Turtle. But yeah, like I gotta, you know, sometimes I trim his beak, sometimes I file his beak. I was thinking about using these files to file down his beak, but I'm a little worried about using them. But I usually use a regular human nail file and a nail clipper to do it. But he looks so distinguished, you know, and it's just he's chilling there. So, you know, I put it in a frame and, you know, it's my boy. And I will have to figure out, let's see if we could correctly tag real quick. It's like, I did this with my phone. It did not work right? And it was just like, it kept giving me the wrong name. There we go. We got it. Now, Elle will be properly tagged. One time I asked the Nerdporvial Lifeform, do you like your own videos? So Nerdporvial Lifeform says, yeah, man, you know, it's like it goes under the heading of like, if you don't love you, how can you love someone else if you don't love yourself? So how can you like other people's videos if you don't like your own stuff? So yeah, Nerdporvial Lifeform, unshamed, without any shame, said he likes his own videos by the logic that you can't like or love anyone else's videos unless you love yourself. So that's what he did. So like, should I just go and like all of my posts here? All of them. But jokes aside, I don't usually go out of my way to like all my posts, but what I do is I usually like most of my videos, right? Because like, you know, unless I'm not satisfied with my own work, I'll like my own video. But anyway, let's get back off topic so we can go and leave now. You will eventually clear the picture exactly, you will eventually get the clear picture of exactly what you need to make you famous. Or at least, you know, moderately wealthy, maybe, you know? Perhaps it'll be the very first photo of an upcoming supernova. Yo, I wish. Seriously, like, I tried that a couple of times, right? And sometimes timing isn't right, but that's what I forgot to talk about. I had a coworker arguing that neutrinos aren't real. And look, I don't know if they're real or not, but I know that they built a detector inside a mountain in Japan. And that's a whole topic that we'll just have to worry about next week. But my point is that apparently they were able to detect neutrinos from a supernova using the detector in Japan, because astronomers, either you would detect the neutrinos and then a real telescope would have to aim, or a existing telescope would catch a supernova. And then based on the time that the supernova occurred, you would then use the neutrino detector in Japan to detect a spike in neutrinos. And if you detect a spike in neutrinos that corresponds to the angle or the time and date of the neutrinos that were of the supernova that was detected, then you can safely say that, okay, a supernova happened and then we detected a burst of neutrinos at the same time. You know, probably a relationship there. So I really like experiments where deductive reasoning prevails, and you know, it helps to give us talking points when, you know, you're arguing with people who don't even look into it. But yeah, nuke rhinos, exactly. And I hope you have a nuclear rhinocerously nuclear birthday, awesome one. And I want to thank you and Slim Nim and Lady Mist and Hey Mist and VGT and Atari and LCX, Raquel SSG 2211, Slim Nim, Snowdub Music and Entertainment. This ain't karaoke, bitch. The Peter Venkman fan site, and I am the Peter Venkman fan site. We already said L, but once again, thanks to L for coming by. Some person, always a pleasure. Let's make this quick. Starts and and with that, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. Oh, I just want to thank David Glenn for dropping in. But yeah, with that being said, seriously, that really did happen. That happened. That happened. That truly did happen. We'll program it next week. We'll program it for next week. Thanks, man. You have awesome streams too, and that's a cool picture. It looks like Jeff Bridges playing some weird retro console. It looks like Jeff Bridges, the Big Lebowski, playing a modified NES console with a NES Advantage built into the top of it. Yes, that's what it looks like. And with that being said, good night. Bye. Turtle power. All right, jokes aside though, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I'll catch you all on the flip end of the week. So with that being said, we shall now, for anybody watching on the replay, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't.